The big question for today is, are you working at the wrong level? If you're not sure if you're working at the wrong level or not, I have 3 questions to ask you. Ready? The first question is, do you often feel totally overwhelmed? Number 2, are you often confused about how to make something work? And number 3, are you stressed because no matter how many hours you work, you feel like you just can't get in front of your workload? Well, if you answered yes to any of those, you might be working at the wrong level, and many of us don't even know that we're doing it. And if you're like me, oh my gosh, I hate dealing with confusion and stress and overwhelm. And it was a real trigger for me, and maybe it is for you too. So for starters, let me explain what it means to work at the wrong level. And since this has happened to me many, many times until I figured it out, I'd love to give you an example from my own life, if that's okay with you. In 2018, maybe 2019, I decided I wanted to do what I do, which for me is helping women solopreneurs. I feel like I said that weird. I made a decision that I wanted to do exactly what I wanted to do, and that was working with people like you, women solopreneurs. And in my heart, I knew it was time for me to do it. It was time for me to make the old pivot, right? So I went from being a corporate trainer to what I'm doing now. And what I do now is this is all for women solopreneurs. I have a podcast and I do webinars. I have a course and do coaching. Again, all for women solopreneurs. So in order to do that, who did I turn to at the time to make that pivot? Well, the experts. And I decided to really focus in on about three of those experts in each area. And it was still a lot of info for me to absorb. I like the number 3 because sometimes if we're, getting information from more than that, it can just be too overwhelming. Well, I knew I needed to research, I needed to study, I needed to learn. Okay. Then I needed to create every little piece of this new business. So how did I do that? I went online, I joined webinars, I uploaded as many free handouts as I could get. I read books and all that stuff. Where I was working, though, was at the wrong level. Because when I kept trying to create what the experts were teaching me, they were at their level, not at my level. See, their level, for almost every expert I studied, or all of them, not almost all of them, they've been in business like 10, 15, 20 years. I was nowhere near that. In other words, you can't compare. That's what I'm saying. You can't compare a level 1 with a level 3. And I just call those levels level 1, 2, and 3 when I train. And because I was working like crazy to make my new business happen, I started experiencing, all those symptoms that I shared with you a minute ago. I was feeling totally overwhelmed, right? Because I'm a 1. I was so confused about how to make something work. And the worst part was, no matter how many hours I worked, I felt like I just couldn't get in front of my workload. And this created so much stress for me, you guys, that it messed up my sleep. I just didn't like my weight. I felt super tired all the time. Looking back, I was for sure at the wrong level for me, where I was at the time in my business. And don't take me the wrong way. I've been a solopreneur for as long as I can remember. And so having my own business wasn't new to me, not by a long shot. I have, I'm a published author. I'm a speaker. I do coaching. And in my past, I've done radio work, TV, and voiceover work. I've been an auctioneer. But with my pivot, right? Remember my pivot? I had so much to learn. I mean, it's mind-bending when you realize how much it takes to be in this online space. So here's what I recommend, especially if you relate to my story. When you start feeling overwhelmed, I want you to remind yourself that as you build your business, you need to work at the level you're at. And for some of you, that means you have to be at, or you maybe have to start with, the essentials. Yeah, the essentials. May I give you an example? Okay, this is how I made the pivot. So in 2019, we're back to that number again, that date. I started doing monthly webinars. I did them live, and to do them, I used a free account with Zoom. I put together my own slide decks for the webinars. I used Google Slides for that. That was free. I promoted them on social media, free. I used Eventbrite. And because the cost of the webinar was free, using Eventbrite was free. Does that make sense? See, at the time, it was important that I kept my costs down, because I realized that if I can't keep my costs down as I'm building my business, I'm going to end up spending more than I make, and that doesn't work. And you can bet that there's lots of platforms or software, funnels, email marketing, Facebook ads I could have invested in. But staying at the essential level, I was able to grow my email list to thousands. And yes, the experts always talk about using all of the things you could pay for, but it might be too soon for you to use them in your business. So let me share with you the 3 things that really made the difference for me. And these 3 things turned out to be my 3 essentials. And if you continue studying with me or learning from me, you'll hear much more about the 3 essentials. It kind of folds into everything that I put out. Okay, well, let's hear about them now. The first thing, or the first essential, was I kept myself tightly focused. Okay, I constantly ask myself, what do I want my business to look like? Okay, so every time I started staring at others' work, or if I found myself trying to fit into a one-size-fits-all program, and I noticed that I started to get frustrated because it wouldn't fit, I'd catch myself, I'd remind myself to focus on my goals and my projects. Second essential is I had to build a foundation. And this is crucial. This is crucial to my work. This is crucial to everything I do. Not only did I do this, but I teach this every single day to build a foundation. Your business needs core pillars of what you do and who you do it for. You're really clear with yourself about who you are and who you help. And this video is not about that foundation. I'm just saying it is an essential. And then if you look at my YouTube channel, you'll see other videos of what the foundation is, right? And I'm not trying to force you to go look at other stuff. I just want to stay focused on what I'm talking about here is working at the right level, okay? Alrighty, so what's the third? The third essential is create a system. Create a system. See, I'm doing a YouTube video right now. And when I got up this morning, came into my studio, on my desk is a checklist to do a YouTube video. It's a checklist. What I did was, part of my creating a system was when I decided to do a YouTube channel, I did a couple, and then after doing a couple videos, I realized I needed a workflow. It's a key word. Workflow tells you do this first, this second, this third, this fourth, and then you have a checklist. Do this, 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 this. Right? And those turn into templates, which is why I rely heavily on Google Drive and Canva. And as I continue to do videos, because now that I'm off the road as a trainer, a corporate trainer, I'm starting to develop my YouTube channel more because I have more time to do it. And let's say that I know that like I'm mentioning, kind of coming back to the idea of my templates. I make copies of I feel like I'm confusing this, but let me just say this. Let's go back to this video. Last night, I knew I needed to do a video today. So I printed up one of my templates that read video checklist. I put that on my desk. Get into my studio this morning. I grab my checklist and everything's in order. Because the first thing on my list for a video that goes on my YouTube channel is 100% always, without fail, the title. I need to know what I'm going to be teaching. Okay? Now, I might do 2 items on the checklist and go out for a walk. And if I do, I don't worry about it because I come back from my walk, refresh my water, right? Get a stick of gum, whatever I do, I go right back to my checklist. And so creating a system, and I know that there's Trello and Asana and all those. Mine's just really simple. And one other thing, I think this is what messed me up just a minute ago when I got a little tangled up on creating a system. Those templates that I keep talking about, they consistently get upgraded. So when I add a step or take off a step on that checklist, that's a template, I may rearrange something, add or take off something. And I just go ahead and do that and keep that updated. Because as you know, as a solopreneur, that what you're doing in March may not be the same way you do it in May. All right, create a system. So those 3 essentials again are focus. What are we focusing on? What you're doing, why you're doing it. Your foundation. I kind of limited it to that everyone has their core and that I talk about foundation in all of my work. And then lastly, and there's nothing, I'm not trying to make it like a secret. It's just the foundation is, well, let me just state this. In an upcoming signature course that I will be putting out, I'll be talking about the foundation. And those foundations are insight into yourself. The second one is your strategy, and that's everything that you do, and emotional control and how you do that. And then the third are systems. All right. So those essentials are stay focused, build a foundation, and create a system. And this slide is wonderful because I can say that this way of approaching, when I approach my business with these 3 essentials, it really helped me. It helped me feel, I guess I felt more empowered. I felt more confident. And my business really started gaining traction. And every day I know now that I'm moving forward. As I move forward, everything gets faster and a bit easier. And remember, because I built it around my essentials, it all came together so nicely. If I really think about it, the life I'm living now is the one I've always wanted for myself. So I sleep better. I feel like I've lost those extra pounds or inches. I'm no longer confused. I'm no longer overwhelmed or stressed, at least not like I used to be. And everything that I continue to learn and do, I just keep adding it on top of my foundation and putting it into my system, which creates more progress, more growth. And I'd love the same to happen to you. And actually, these are pictures of me working. All right. So let's stay on this for a minute. And the question I want to ask you is, what level are you at? What level are you working towards? And are you at the right level? I told you, look for the 3 things: overwhelm, stress, and confusion. And that might be showing up because you're at the wrong level for you at right now. So if you answered yes, you are at the wrong level, I thought a few next steps might help you. Okay, so the first thing I recommend is you take some time and regroup. I want you to ask yourself, okay, am I comparing myself to someone who has more experience, more assets, more revenue, more resources than me? Am I trying to do what the experts say I can do, but I'm not really at that level yet. The next thing is I want you to let yourself off the hook. I want you to realize that so many of those experts we read about have teams of people working for them. And don't forget, they're paying those individuals to bring their own level of expertise to the table, right? So it's all going towards the goal of the CEO and the company's success. And since we don't normally get to see that part of their business, we can get caught up thinking, why can't I do what the experts say I should do? And remember, the experts aren't the bad guys here. They're not the bad folks here. We just need to work at our own level and build the business we want to have. And my last recommendation is to decide that it's time to let go. I want you to just get these essentials built and be done with overwhelm and stress and confusion, right? And put your focus on your essentials. Even if you've been at this a while, realize it's okay to be there. And the exciting part is once you're there, if you stick with it, soon you'll have your foundation, your system, your focus. You'll have a team or a couple people working towards the success of your company. But the best part is that you'll be living the life you've always dreamed of. And that really is the best gift of all. Actually, health is the best gift of all. All right, top tip. Always honor the level you're at and work every day to grow and build the business and life of your dreams. And if you need some help on this, I've mentioned throughout that this is what I do. I have a training. It is a mini course. The name of it is Growth Made Easier. And it's going to really focus in on this foundation that I talked about. The link is below. You can read more about it. If it looks right, join. But make sure that one decision that you make, just realize it can change a lot for you. Okay? Well, thanks for joining me. I really hope this training helps you learn what it is you need to know so you can be that successful solopreneur you're meant to be. Okay? All right. Well done, you. Bye-bye.